What's going on, guys? It's Adam P. Welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news here on the channel. Full time on our Asia tour in South Korea. We have lost 1-0 to the K-League team. We have now lost all three of our pre-season matches. 0-0-3. We have lost every single game so far. I'm not fussed about the result today, but I am fussed about the Joe Willock situation. At first, it looked like a broken ankle. Went in for the ball towards the end of the game. I mean, you're talking within 2 minutes to go. Goes in for the ball. Looks like he's seriously damaged the back of his leg. Now, thankfully, Craig Hope has reported that while it is an injury, not as serious as it was first made out to be. So it looks like Joe Willock may dodge somewhat of a bullet, but as we all know, Joe Willock is also a bit of an injury-prone player. So it doesn't look like anything has changed with him, unfortunately, this summer. If you guys are new to the channel though, make sure you get down here, hit that subscribe button. 61% of you watching this video are not subscribed, so make sure you do that so you don't miss out on any of the content in terms of transfer news and also the Asia tour. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. Now, let's get through the good news first. Aaron Ramsteh is now in Newcastle. Was first reported by Keith Downey getting off the plane. He has now arrived to the training ground as reported from Jordan Cronin. So he went inside there. He's doing his medical. That is a done deal. £4 million in a loan fee. Option to buy next summer. Newcastle, at least now, have made sure that the goalkeeper situation is all sorted out. In my opinion, £4 million may seem a bit steep for a loan fee, but I'm not fussed by that. I'll rather us pay £4 million just for us to have the goalkeeper covered and let's say sticking with Nick Pope and then maybe De Bruyne on the bench or someone else if we decide to sell De Bruyne. At least now Ramsteh is there. A goalkeeper that, especially with Newcastle's goalkeeper background, we've always had good coaches, we've always had a good department there, so they can get the best out of him. And Eddie Howe's worked with him before. He's a player Eddie Howe likes, so I'm happy with it. Eddie Howe wants it. Fair enough. I'm happy to accept that. And that is now our second player through the door. We need way more than that, though. Centre midfielder now, right centre back, and the striker situation. We get through the strikers first because Benjamin Cesco. Now, it was reported by Fabrizio Romano yesterday. Newcastle is willing to give the agent what he wants, the player what he wants, and Leipzig the transfer fee that he wants to land the signing of Benjamin Sesko this summer. And shockingly, it has been reported by Craig Hope he still wants to make the move to Manchester United. At least in the Newcastle camp, it feels like the player wants Manchester United over Newcastle. Now, I've got some problems with this now. My first problem is, like, let's say Romano's posts are true. Newcastle offered Cesco and the club everything. How is he picking Manchester United over Newcastle now? I don't know who's doing that negotiating. I don't know if it's Andy Howe. I don't know if it's Steve Nixon. I don't know if it's someone else from the Public Investment Fund. Who is doing the negotiating this summer now? We've won so well last season. We're in the Champions League now. It is the best time to be playing at Newcastle United, no matter what anyone says about ISAK or anything else. Newcastle's in a good spot now with money to spend. So how are we not convincing players to join Newcastle? The only players so far we have convinced to join, Alanga. Bearing in mind, on the channel earlier in the week, you've seen Alanga speak to the club saying that Eddie Anderson convinced them to join Newcastle. So that wasn't even us negotiating. That was Elliot Anderson inside Nottingham Forest convinced Alanga to join us. And then Ramsteh, who has just been relegated with Southampton, so he probably would have picked any Premier League team, really. They're the only players we've gotten this summer. Who is trying to big up our club? Who is trying to go into these players and go into these football clubs to convince a player to join us? Because we'll put bids on João Pedro, didn't get him. Put bids on Ekitike, didn't get him. Looks like a potential bid in Cesco, looks like we don't get him. What are we doing with the negotiating? How are we not convincing players to join us? And that's now potentially the third player in this window that's picked Manchester United over us. And Bruno Cunha, both being linked to Newcastle, and now Cesco. Manchester United are rubbish. They are dog water. They're obviously historically a much bigger club than Newcastle. I fully understand that. And on the player side of things as well, may offer bigger wages than Newcastle, but they haven't even got Champions League football. Newcastle, we need to be able to negotiate these players. I cannot believe the Cesco stuff, and I'm big on this as well. If we do not land Benjamin Cesco this summer, I don't think we should sell Isak. It has to be an Isak replacement. And Cesco so far, within the last couple of weeks, has been the only player I've honestly looked at that's been linked to Newcastle where I felt like it's an Isak replacement. And speaking of Craig Hope, it's also reported that if we do not land Benjamin Cesco, Newcastle. Newcastle was looking to sign Muniz from Fulham, a player, by the way, who has never scored double digits in the Premier League. I'm going to be quite vocal on this as well. Muniz, I would be happy as the Wilson replacement. If we don't sign Wissa and Muniz is the player that comes in, I'm happy for him to be the second option. But if he is coming in alongside Wissa to be an ISAK replacement, not good enough. Seriously, not good enough. If you're signing those two and then letting ISAK go to Liverpool, we just aren't serious. You've got to look at the facts at this point now. I'm always someone that's quite honest in Newcastle. I always kind of talk through Newcastle through the middle. Of course, I'm going to have my opinion as a fan, just like any of you watching this video. I think if Sesko does not join Newcastle, and if there's not a player out there that is of a quality level to a player like ISAK, we should not sell ISAK to Liverpool. I'm not convinced by it. If it's Wissa and Muniz coming in, don't let ISAK go, because I just don't think it's good enough to be the ISAK replacement. And I think that's a fair comment. Liverpool, has been reports on social media claiming that ISAK's already agreed personal terms in Liverpool and agreed a principal deal with Liverpool. How can you agree all this stuff? They haven't even placed a bid on the guy yet, and I don't think they might do that for a while. I think they might wait this transfer out as well. So when you look at the situation, when you look at the players he Newcastle's linked with, I'm happy with Wissa. Muniz, I would be happy with if Wissa does not join, but either of these to be an ISAK replacement is just laughable. I think it's that serious. I think when you look at this transfer, Newcastle need to come out of this window looking well. We've had 4 good years of building this club up, and while PSR, yes, has been a big factor for everything holding us back, I think PSR is also a bit of an excuse, because I think the club behind the scenes has been poor. I think the public investment fund's just not done enough. They've been vocal on Zoom calls, they've been vocal, of course, on a daily basis, but they're just not up front with Newcastle. They're not there in person. They're not there to do the duties of the likes of Amanda Murder. And I think whoever is doing the negotiating at Newcastle is not doing a good enough job, because there's so many players turning us down. How many players have turned Newcastle down this summer? Something must be going on. We are not a bad football club. We have Champions League football now. We've just won silverware. I think we should be a more attractable club than likes of Manchester United. I know Manchester United are historically massive, but surely Newcastle, for a club that's progressing, for a player that's young, wanting to come in, wanting to get a Premier League experience, surely Newcastle United is a more attractive club to join at the minute Manchester United. I cannot believe all these players are picking them over us, picking the big and Chelsea's bench over us. Like, what is going on here? Well, how are we not getting these players in? And I'm just getting fed up now. I'm getting fed up with the ISAK stuff. Some of you guys in the comment section will go, well, Adam, what happens if ISAK just refuses to play for Newcastle? What happens if ISAK decides to go on the strike and not take part in Newcastle? Well, tough crap, because he could have done this at the start of the transfer window. And ISAK, listen, there's nothing stopping him from leaving this football club. I'll be honest now, if at the start of the transfer window he came out and said that I want to leave Newcastle, can we do that? Newcastle could have made the sale nice and easy. We could have potentially signed a player like Ekitike. We could have signed João Pedro. We could have just chucked money and getting a striker in, and we could have had this done nice and early. But he decided to do it 2 weeks after Liverpool interest, refusing to go on his Asia tour, not cooperating with Newcastle, just sitting around in the training ground. Have you watched our performances during this tour? We are struggling in front of goal. We are so lacklustre, and we're so lethargic, and we're just so generic. It's the same Newcastle from last season. You can tell the players out there, you're talking 35 degrees heat, are running around, working our asses off, trying to do something, but a team that has no signs in it. Alanga can't do everything on his own. You've got a team just filled with a lack of spark. They need something going. They don't have the options in there, and you got your best marketable player not on the tour. Newcastle will lose out money on this Asia tour and lose out in commercial being able to push the club out there, because you've got a player who's decided that he wants to put a transfer request in towards the back end of this transfer window. Why has him and his agent not done this at the start of the window? He's probably done Newcastle over, and I would say I feel like he is trying to hold Newcastle back now. I'm not saying ISAK can't leave the club. If he wants to leave the club, then so be it. But I haven't liked the way he's went about it, and I'm quite vocal on that as well. And I'm peeved off by it. And if he wants this Liverpool move, then he has to do it on our terms. We are desperately trying to get a striker, and you can't see Newcastle has not attempted to get a striker. We'll put bids all around in several options. We haven't landed any of them. You can clearly see Newcastle is trying to get a deal done, and we can't get it done. So if we can't get a deal done, surely ISAK should have the respect, and his agent should have the respect of going, well, you guys have attempted this, fair enough. if you can do something for our client, if you make ISAK happy, we'll have one more year, and then you have to promise ISAK you will let him go next summer. Surely Newcastle and ISAK can get to some form of an agreement. Keep him on for one more season, then let him go. I don't want to do this. I bet you don't want to do this, but what choice do we have? Because we can't sign a player that's of the quality of him. No one wants to join Newcastle. Apparently, we can't land these signings. Cesco don't want to be here. Pedro don't want to be here. Ekitike don't want to be here. And Bruno don't want to be here. Delap doesn't want to be here. Cunha doesn't want to be here. I could do this all day long. Players are just not wanting to play for Newcastle. I don't know what is going on, but we just aren't landing these players. We've been linked to so many names, and yeah, we've only signed a player that has been relegated and a player that's joined because his own teammates telling him to join. So that's what we've done in this window, and it's just, oh my god, it's just doing my head in. It's probably doing my head in. I'm sorry if it comes across as me being a bit negative and me coming across as just ranting and banging onto the camera, but what else do you want me to say? We've had our best ever season, and yet we've had our worst bloody window since the takeover. Like, what is going on here? We've done the work last season. Eddie Howe and the players have done the work on the pitch, and they're getting shafted behind the scenes. Why are these people working their asses off on the pitch when you've got people that are off the pitch not doing it? I just don't get it. The public investment fund, I don't know what is going on here. This director of football stuff. Where's the director of football? Where's the St James's Park plans? I thought months ago we're supposed to have the announcement. Where's the new St James's Park? Where's the stadium sponsors? Where's the training ground sponsors? Where's the commercial deals? Where is all of this stuff? Because Newcastle could easily get this stuff done with no PSR restrictions. There's stuff without PSR that we can do, and we haven't done those things. So you can blame PSR all you want, and why PSR is a factor why Newcastle was unable to properly take on. But we aren't taking off ourselves. We've got things we can do, and we aren't doing them. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. What away from this video. I just cannot believe how this window's going. How are we still getting done over in this window? We are trying to get a striker in. Liverpool's even waiting for us. Liverpool's sitting there waiting for us to get a striker, and we can't even get a striker. We're trying to get it done. We're trying our absolute best to get these players in, and nowhere, if we get Muniz and Wissa, or we letting ISAK go, surely we do not do that. If that's how the window ends, then you're gonna see a extremely big video from me talking about it, because my head will be gone. My head will be absolutely gone if we lose ISAK and then get a couple of players in that are just nowhere near of an ISAK quality. But yeah, that's how the videos went. Apologies for the negative video. I can only talk about what I've seen in social media. I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I don't know what is going on here. There's someone to blame, but who? Is it a collective blame? Is there several different individual areas in Newcastle I need to look at? But I don't know what's happening here. Why are Newcastle not getting these players? We're throwing everything at Sesko according to Fabrizio Romano. So unless he's completely off the mark, which to be honest, I wouldn't be fully against either, because Romano has dropped a bit of a stinker in regards to Newcastle news. But why have we not got Cesco? I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, guys, let me know your opinions down below. I'm going to head off to bed shortly because I am knackered. I've had a long day today, so I'm going to chill out now. Appreciate you watching as always. What's going on? But yeah, take care, and we'll see you all in the next one.